Hello everyone, this is Talanessa and I'm here to bring you another short-ish video on the changes that they are introducing to the 7.2 patch. The patch is of course in very early testing, so this is going to be subject to change and taken with a grain of salt, so please keep that in mind. So these are my thoughts and the reaction I had to the direction that they're seem to be going with the artifact additions and how they are changing relics to be more flexible, I suppose, and how exactly this may change our priorities, if at all. So, looking at the changes, they added 4 new artifact slots, I suppose. So, and they are also looking at increasing the number of other traits. I'm not exactly sure which ones they are affecting, but I believe it's the ones that have 3 points already will get maybe a 4th point. I'm not sure it's going to affect all 3 ones, but regardless, a lot of them are more utility focused and slight buffs to damage or maelstrom generation, so of course that's always good and not something to shirk, but nothing too impactful that we already do not know about. So with these first new points, what we have are in the form of the first 4 that we are initially getting through, I believe, a quest system, a series quest that will provide us these entry points. I'm pretty sure you don't need to fill out your weapon currently, because it would make not a whole lot of sense to those that are either tune swapping or with alts or what have you. So for the first one, we are getting a buff to Crash Lightning. So the first 4 points are increasing the damage of our Crash Lightning to a maximum of 20%. Again, numbers may change, but again, it is a buff to Crash Lightning, which I already believe to be a pretty strong spell to pretty much use on cooldown, just because the artifact currently already buffs the damage of our next Storm Strike. So this just emphasizes the use of Crash Lightning even more, even on single targets. So a very good direction, in my opinion, to prompt more people to use Crash Lightning in any situation. Other than that, the next one is going to be Wind Fury. So Wind Fury, when it deals damage, it generates Maelstrom for you, so which is why using the Doomhammer artifact cooldown provides you so much Maelstrom, because it keeps attacking Wind Fury. So Wind Fury will generate 2 more Maelstrom, so Maelstrom will be more frequent and you won't be Maelstrom starved as often, but the increase is fairly low, so you won't see the impact too frequently, but it is still a buff to provide us more Maelstrom, and I believe it is to more so affect the viability of certain talents. So the ones I'm concerned about are Boulder Fist and Hot Hand. So currently Windsong provides us the most on demand, I suppose. Well, not on demand, but a very large chunk of Maelstrom to boost our ability to gain Maelstrom at the start of a fight as well as continuously, because the cooldowns are currently not necessarily in sync. So we have a 45-second cooldown, a 2-minute cooldown, and then a 1-minute cooldown. So they are up at various times during the fight. Sometimes they sync up, of course, but generally you always have a cooldown useful in any part of a fight. So our Maelstrom generation is still pretty strong with Windsong. However, Boulder Fist, from my various testings, is strong, don't get me wrong. However, to provide you Maelstrom generation, it does not support the Fury of Air build as strongly, just because of how Rockbiter functions, in the fact that it provides you Maelstrom on demand whenever you want it, however much you want it. So Hot Hand also gives you Rock Biter, but it's more steady, and you will more often use Rock Biter than Storm Strike, just for how it works. Get into Hot Hand a little bit more later. But the change to Wind Fury generating more Maelstrom for you will provide, mine may boost the viability of Boulder Fist, and Hot Hand may also get a boost in as well, so you will eventually use less Rock Biters overall. Next, we have a Golden Dragon. I'm not sure exactly why these next two are Golden Dragons. However, the first one says that when you deal damage through Flame Tongue, so I'm not sure if it's just the first part in the chunk of fire damage that it deals, or will also include the fire damage that your weapon does when it is empowered. So how that function is going to be interesting, because if it is the latter, attack speed may be a good factor in providing you a lot of damage, or if it's just from the initial Flame Tongue damage, then Hot Hand, since it just boosts the damage of your flame tongue naturally through, especially through a proc, that may be something to play around, especially if you have the legendary bracers. Of course, if it is the latter, then attack speed from Windsong may boost it so much so that the increased damage of your next Flame Tongue is something that you can stack pretty high and unleash whenever you want. So it may be an interesting thing to play around, and it will take time to understand which will most benefit, especially from these 15 talents, to understand how much potential damage we can do with this new Golden Dragon. Very interesting, and I like it in the fact that it does mix up some priorities in either your legendaries or your talent choices. Lastly, it is the filler, I guess, Paragon points. So again, we're getting a Golden Dragon in the Infinity. So Infinite, I believe, or whatever it's called, will just provide you 20 points where you can fill in to provide you extra damage. So nothing too exciting right there. But the first three, fairly interesting abilities and artifact traits, and I welcome any good change to provide us more damage overall. Nextly, I want to get into how they are affecting relics. So relics are having an interesting change. I'm not necessarily sure how they are going to implement it, if at all, but what they are planning to do, from what I have done research about, is that they are going to make relics affect two different artifact traits. So you could get one with wind strikes and weapon of the elements, for example, and the relic would be a storm/fire relic, or a storm/blood relic, or something along those lines. I'm not sure if it has to fit the three of the weapon, because that may provide some weird interactions with, like, let's say you want to trade loot, but whether or not you need a blood slot or if you just need the fire portion is going to be interesting. So it will provide you a lot more flexibility. So let's say you have a fire and a fell relic drop, you can equip it even though you don't have a fell, or I'm just theory crafting here, because you have that fire slot, which may provide an interesting dynamic to provide you more options in a given loot set. So very interesting changes. Hopefully it turns out to be pretty strong, pretty good for our class, and hopefully I haven't rambled too much. If you guys liked the video, please remember to give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe if you haven't already and would like to see more videos that I release in the future. Hopefully I will see you guys next time, and until then, I will see you later. Bye!